Everybody, I wanted to do a quick video about what may well be coming in Cyberpunk 2077. Actually, it's more of what I'd like to see coming in Cyberpunk 2077, because I've put in 50 hours playing through the main story and looking forward to put in a lot more hours, maybe finishing off quite a few of the side missions, starting off with new characters and new playthroughs and mucking around with various mods on PC as well. But for me, and everybody else, we know that Cyberpunk 2077, it's a work in progress, isn't it? This game, even with the 1.5 patch that just came out, which brought the game up to the situation probably where it should have been at launch, it's still an unfinished product. Don't get me wrong, it plays really great now. I think it's a fantastic game, but there's more work to do. So the first thing I'd like to see is I'd like to see some of the basics really be reintroduced is the wrong word, but introduced. I'm sure they would have planned them to be in the game in the first place. So perhaps the subway, we need to see that come in, because there's a few subway stations in the city that you go down into and you get to the doors, don't you? But then in other parts of the city and in the Badlands, you just kind of have those holographic maps. And that's a bit odd. It's a bit like teleporters. You go to them and say, I want to go here, and then you appear somewhere else on the map. So I'd like to see that come in. I'd like to see the AI of the NPCs brought up to a level that is comparable with something like, probably like Grand Theft Auto. So with the police, I know the police at the moment, if you get yourself into shenanigans, will then come after you, if you like, on foot. But I'd like to see them take that to the next level, where you have a proper bounty system, where if you do something wrong, if you break the law and you are seen doing so, you're then pursued by the police, by all means necessary, until you can either shake them or do something, or maybe you're captured and thrown into Cyberpunk's jail. I don't know what that would be. So for example, if you're driving along and you run somebody over, the police should come after you in police cars to chase you around. If you shoot somebody, they should come after you that way. You could even have it where if you perform a traffic violation, you go through a red light and there's a police car near you, they should come after you that way. I would love that, because I really enjoy in Cyberpunk and in Grand Theft Auto just kind of driving around, obeying the highway code. And that would also come to NPCs as well. So I want to see NPCs who fight back a little bit more. You bump into somebody and you bump into the wrong guy and they're like, whoa, who are you? And they pull a gun on you, and maybe you get into a gunfight and then the police get involved. If you bash into somebody with your car, they don't just beep their horn, but they block you in. They jump out of their car with their gun and try and beat you up or try and shoot you that way, just to make that in-game experience that little bit more immersive. Extra DLC, I think, is a given. I think what CD Projekt Red have created with Cyberpunk and with Night City and its environment is a great platform for future content. So you've got the environment, you've got the structures, you've got the NPCs wandering around. They can now inject various DLC for it. So maybe some more story DLC for V, maybe. But it doesn't have to necessarily revolve around V. Maybe you could have a prequel with Jackie. That would be really cool, don't it? Or characters that are absolutely nothing to do with anybody who we came across in the Cyberpunk story. Maybe we could go back in time. Maybe we go forward in time. And tell these various... They could even be quite short form. They don't need to be massively long stories. It could just be little characters that you play for like 2 or 3 hours doing something within Night City or the Badlands around it to enjoy the experience. And I think that would be really cool. And you could pay a few bucks for those, and that would be a good way of continually monetizing the game, because I know the game sells very well on Steam. It's always up there in the charts, but as soon as it goes on sale, bang, lots and lots of people play it. I know lots and lots of people enjoy it. And then going beyond the story-led type of campaign, I really want to see a kind of almost like a survival version of Cyberpunk, where you're not V. Well, you could be V, but it doesn't matter. You're just your character. Say, you find yourselves, you wake up in the Badlands, or wake up in the gutter in Night City. You've got a few creds in your pocket, and you then have to survive. You have to get money together. to buy weapons, to buy food and drink as well. You know, there should be a food mechanic, there should be a drink mechanic, there should be a sleep mechanic, and you've got to, and it should be permadeath as well. So you've gradually got to get your stuff together, do jobs for the local fixers, you know, help the local police perhaps. You know, maybe you mug people. You know, maybe you do carjackings, and you get enough money to get a car, better weapons, get an apartment, and you have that constant gameplay loop of just surviving in Night City and the Badlands, and maybe get bounties put in your head so other people come after you. All this sort of stuff where it's not story driven at all. You know, there's no overall story. The only idea is that you have to survive, but the catch is that you have permadeath. You know, your character will die if you go into a gunfight against a bunch of gang members in the wrong place. Then that will be the end of you that way. I think that would be very, very cool indeed. And finally, I guess Cyberpunk 2077 needs what every good single player game needs, or multiplayer game needs. They need a zombie mode, don't they? You got to have a zombie mode. I want a Night City full of infected, and you've got to survive against those. Or maybe it's a story campaign, I don't know. But it would be perfect, wouldn't it? You know, you're out there and gradually people are getting infected. Maybe they're all infected. You've got that Blade Runner type feel. Or maybe you're out in the Badlands. You know, you need to do a run into the infected city to get stuff. It would be so cool having zombies. Just like Red Dead Redemption did it, didn't they, with Undead Nightmare? You could definitely have that in Night City in Cyberpunk 2077. So there we go. There's some of my ideas. What do you think? What would you want to see going forward in Cyberpunk 2077? Because I think this game is going to be around for a long time. Anyway, put your ideas and suggestions down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more, then press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.